So the Dallas Cowboys' initial 53-man roster had more than just one surprise, but none was bigger than the inclusion of former first-round draft pick defensive tackle Mazi Smith. And in this video, we're going to talk about Brian Schottenheimer's insight into this decision and why it comes with a very significant caveat. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Mauricio Rodriguez here at ADZ Sports Dallas. On Tuesday, the Cowboys finalized their roster cuts to come up with an initial group of 53 players. Now, I emphasize the word initial because roster pieces are still going to fall into place. We might see some players cut and then placed on the practice squad. We might see some players placed on injured reserve and then add some other talent into the 53-man roster. We are going to see more moves. However, the initial 53 had some surprises. I was surprised at Will Grier not making the quarterback room. He might be added onto the practice squad. By the time you're watching this video, he might already be on it. I was also surprised at Andrew Booth being on the roster, Israel Mukuamu being off of it. But if we're talking impactful surprises, I think I'm going to go with nose tackle Mazi Smith being on the 53. Now, it's always tough to cut a former first rounder, and I feel like it's something that front offices around the NFL don't ever really want to do, but it looked like an option. It looked like a probability, honestly, for the Cowboys, especially when in the preseason finale versus the Atlanta Falcons, you had Mazi Smith playing deep into the game. Basically, the Cowboys asking him to earn it, to prove to them why he should be on the 53-man roster. Over the weekend, Schottenheimer talked about inconsistency being an issue for Mazi Smith, and he talked about it openly ahead of roster cuts. And it kind of felt to me like this team is going to move on. They're going to turn the page, and they're going to look forward to a new nose tackle. But they didn't, and that was a surprise to me. Mazi Smith is going to be on the 53-man roster for the Cowboys. However, don't think that this is going to be the same approach that the team had in 2024. And Brian Schottenheimer made it very clear in a press conference right after the roster was announced. He said part of the conversation with Mazi was, hey, nothing is guaranteed. I wanted Mazi to know this has nothing to do with you being a first-round draft pick. Overall, I liked what Schottenheimer had to say because he spoke about the Mazi Smith case with a lot of transparency. And he even added, this is the most important part, he even added that him being on the 53 doesn't mean he's going to be on the game day roster, right? The Cowboys every week will have to present a list of inactive players, and Schottenheimer's comments kind of suggest that Mazi Smith could very well be on that list. Just hearing those comments from Schottenheimer kind of confirms that Mazi, he's going to be competing with Perion Winfrey, the preseason darling that made the team playing 3 technique, 1 technique. He is going to be competing with Mazi Smith, even though he's much lighter. He's also going to be competing with 6th-round rookie Jay Toia. More importantly, he's going to be competing with Solomon Thomas. I think Solomon Thomas is a key figure in this battle just because he didn't play the entire preseason. And if you look at who didn't play, starters didn't play. Ozo Digisuwa is quite obviously your starter at 3 technique. And Solomon Thomas, though he's played 3 tech most of his career, he worked at nose tackle a lot during training camp. So even though Mazi Smith is a first rounder and even though he made the team, it doesn't seem like he has a role guaranteed with this team other than being a backup. Schottenheimer added that it wasn't about the first round status, but maybe it was about the first round talent because he mentioned the talent, he mentioned the upside. What Schottenheimer is quote unquote upset about, and I think the fans are as well, is the lack of consistency. That is a word he keeps using when talking about the Michigan product. Let's see if something clicks for Mazi some way down the line in this season with a new defensive line coach, with a new defensive coordinator. But the message is clear. You made the roster. Don't get too excited. It doesn't mean your stock is up or anything like that. You still got to prove it every single week. We'll see how the 2025 season plays out for Mazi.